Well, hello students, welcome back. We still have the other two topics related to critical reading, particularly about evaluating text. So let's begin. Well, the third critical reading skill is about purpose. So to evaluate a piece of writing, you need to ask not only who wrote it, but also why it was written. It is related to the writer's purpose. So there are three main purposes for writing. Those are the first one is to inform. At this purpose, the author presents facts and explains the idea to the reader. And the second is to persuade. The author uses facts and opinion to argue for or to gain some ideas. And the third is to entertain. Well, at this purpose, the author tries to amuse or sometimes to interest the readers with humor, suspense, dramatic story, and so on. Well, actually, a piece of writing can often fulfill more than one purpose. It can, for example, be informative, persuasive, and entertaining as well. However, usually the author has one primary purpose in writing it. Here I have a note. So our writing contains a combination of this. For example, for a short story, instead of having entertaining purpose, it often also persuades readers to see the world in a specific way. Or for example, for another example is textbook. It may purpose to inform the student with knowledge and information, but it also sometimes persuade the student to do good habits or not doing bad things such as smoking. Okay, now here are several ways that can be applied when you want to identify the author purpose. Okay, the first one, you have to look at the information in the passage. Does it contain a lot of facts? So if it does, the purpose may be to inform or to persuade, just like a textbook. And the second, look at the language used. If it is natural or an objective, so the purpose is simply to inform the readers. But if it includes terms that are strongly positive or strongly negative or emotional, so the purpose is probably to persuade the reader. And the last, if it is includes situation or more like description, which are funny or surprising or maybe intriguing, so the writer probably wants to entertain the readers. So, okay, to make you understand more about the author's purpose, let's do this exercise. The question is, what's the author's purpose? And you can pause this video now to read these three short paragraphs. Okay, so for the first statement, pay attention to the highlighted words here, harmful, and after that, forced and taken off. It is about telling secret in a talk show. So what do you think about this short paragraph? What's the author's purpose here? So, by concerning on the chosen words, those are strongly negative words. That is why the purpose of this paragraph is to persuade the reader to not approving the action done by the talk show. And second, so was that the author is to persuade. And second, look at so here about self-disclosure and communication, and I highlight the word means At this second paragraph, it has a neutral. It's only inform you about definition of self-disclosure in communication. So the purpose here is to inform. Great, right? And the last one, what is your answer for this time? Look at, I highlighted several words, several expression. So what is your answer here? Yeah, right. If your answer is to entertain, you got it right, because it show, what's that? The dramatic sense of the story about Sam, that he has been married to two other women while he has been dating Lucida, who is carrying his third child, and he's having an affair with Sam's brother. It's such a dramatic story. So the function is to entertain the reader. Well, recognizing bias is the last of the 4 critical reading skills presented in this video. So this skill is closely related to tone and also the author purpose. If you still remember, tone helps us recognize the author purpose, and at the same time, through tone and purpose, we can conclude if the author is biased or not. So what is bias actually? What does it mean if an author is biased? Well, actually, in our everyday life, we often come across to this term. Well, people say someone is biased if she takes side without a strong enough reason. Well, for example, a teacher. Well, okay. Uh, Here is a teacher defends a truant student. A truant student means a student who is being absent during school time. Okay, a teacher defends a truant student not because she knows that the student has acceptable reason for not coming at the school, but it is more because the student happens to be the teacher's nephew. So we can say through this illustration that this teacher is definitely biased. Well, some say bias is similar to opinion, but it takes a step farther. So, bias in reading does not have much different meaning with this. So, if an author is biased, he is also taking side. He or she takes one side of a controversial issue and does not want to consider what other people have to say about the issue. Thus, a bias in reading refers to an author's partiality toward a certain viewpoint. Well, perhaps the best example of bias is in advertising. A magazine advertisement for a new car model, for instance, describe only positive and sellable features of the car, and the ad does not recognize the car's limitation or the car's faults by giving only a partial presentation of the facts, and uh, or by not giving the bad side of the car. The ad writer reflects his bias. So why is he so biased, if you have this kind of question? Well, at this case, because his aim is to sell. So if he is not biased, or if he is objective, uh, he maybe never sell the car, because the potential buyer will not be convinced that the car is good enough for them. Okay, now how to identify bias? Here I have uh, what's that? 4 points to be considered. The first one is a person only one side of arguments. I already explained it previously, and it includes only facts or examples that support the author's opinion. and it uses language intended to influence the reader emotions such as fear, anger, pity, or outrage. Analyze it usually ridicules others' opinion or others' view. Look at here I have a note, so it may involve political sometimes or religious opinions or maybe racial or national groups or other groups or people ideas. And also it is important to recognize bias in a text so that you can make a fair judgment about the validity of the authors. Now, for your practice, let's compare these paragraphs about at this time the World Cup Soccer Championship. Okay, so read this first paragraph, then answer the question. We have two questions here. First is the author biased or neutral? And the second, if the writer is biased, is the bias in favor of the topic or against it? Okay, you can pause from now on to make you easy to read the text carefully. Now, okay, so what is your answer for the first question? Now I want you to pay attention to is that the particular words or expression used here. Look at the first one. Tickets were sold out, this one, long ago, and there is some concern about the fans becoming overly enthusiastic or even violent. However, this one is good. The German police say that measures have been taken to prevent any incident or to contain them quickly. Look at this. The last three sentences in this paragraph show the attitude of the author, while for the first, second, third, and fourth sentences are informing the reader about the World Cup Soccer Championship in Germany. So what do you think about this paragraph? What is your answer? Right, it is neutral. You got it right, it is neutral because the author only informs positive and negative sides of the World Cup soccer. Okay, let's proceed to these paragraphs. Look at here. And we have a question, similar question, is the author biased or neutral? If the writer is biased, is the bias is in favor of the topic or against it? Now look at here. Now I want you to pause this video to make you easy to read this text carefully, but I'm going to remind you to pay attention to the language or the words or the expression used in this paragraph. Okay, so what is your answer for this time? Okay, I give you the answer. The first one, that the author is positively biased. Why? So pay attention to the word this one, ordinary livestock. Okay, in the poorer countries of Africa or South America, there is a moment of hope and optimism. And after that, look at this. In Europe, the World Cup matches are unifying events. Okay, now look at, we also have this diction. The last one, the last sentence. Everyone in the country feels they have gained something vital and makes them stronger and better. So, pay attention to these words. Well, these words have positive meaning, right? And they reveal the author positive bias. That is why The answer for the first question is it is biased, because the author is positively biased. And for the second question, here the author expresses a favorable attitude toward the World Cup soccer actually, because he or she thinks that the World Cup soccer can unifying event, it is as unifying events for poor countries such as in Africa, Latin America, or South America. So it is biased. Okay, now what do you think about this last paragraph? Pause a moment, read it closely, identify the connotative, and find the meaning behind the language used here. And the question is similar. First one is the author biased or neutral? And the second, if the writer is biased, is the bias in favor of the topic or against it? You have to find whether the writer is biased, and after that, is the bias in favor of the topic or against it? Okay, you can pause a moment. So what did you get? Okay, at this time, the author has a negative attitude toward the World Cup, sorry, and therefore, it's biased against the topic. Look at here, we have words or phrases which reveal the bias, such as in this one, obsessed. In the newspaper, on television news programs, the journalists are as obsessed as everyone else. And then widely patriotic. Patriotic is a positive one, but widely it changed the meaning, so it is more a negative. It has negative sense rather than positive one. And after that, look at how foolish they look. And the last, look at this one, has a strong negative feeling. Primitive ritual of the game. So based on these words or phrases or expression, what do you think about this paragraph? Right, it is biased, and the bias is against the topic of the World Cup Championship Soccer. Okay, finally we come to the end of this video, but before I close this tutorial section, I would like to summarize the things that we have to do when evaluating a text. So you must consider this following. First, about the author's opinions. So you have to decide if the author's opinion justified, relevant, or, and second, you have to pay attention also to the author's tone, because it shows the author attitudes toward the particular topic. And the third is author purpose. Is it to persuade or to inform or to entertain? And the last is you have to pay attention to the author possible bias. If the author is one-sided, or is the author show positive or negative bias, and so on. Well, let's say, don't forget to log in to your e-learning for some more exercises and of course assignment. And please keep stay at home, stay healthy. And here, okay, also in that to Slidescope for the eye-catching template presentation. You guys go to Slidescope, find a lot of free PowerPoint template. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.